I am reading so many books right now. Want to hear about them? Hey Book Dragons, I am so glad that you have joined me today, and we're going to just talk about some of the books that I am reading. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Chaz, your last video you talked about some of the books that you're reading. I know, but that was a tag, and this is an actual reading update. So you get to hear a little bit more details on my thoughts about the books I'm reading, some of the books I've finished, etc., etc. So, if you are ready for that, let's get to it. If you need to grab snacks or drinks to consume while you're watching this video, pause here. And if you are ready to go, let's get to it. All right, so I did finish one book this week. And that, guys, is Fool's Quest by Robin Hobb. And, oh man, I have so many thoughts on this book. So many thoughts. Good thoughts. Really good thoughts. I was starting to worry as I got toward the end of the book. And actually Danielle was too. I've been reading this with Danielle over at Bookara. We were both kind of starting to worry about the slower pace toward the end of the book because it seemed like it was dragging a little bit. But then, of course, Robin Hobb worked her magic and wrapped everything together in a nice little bow, or, at least for the completion of this book, not the completion of the story. We've still got so many more unanswered questions and things like that, which Robin Hobb is really good at. But yeah, it ended up being a real banger of an ending, cliffhanger ending. And we're probably going to be picking up the final book here pretty soon. So, yeah, excellent read. I'm really loving this last trilogy, and the closer we get to the end, the more I'm dreading the end and starting to have all the feelings of, now what do I do? Once I've finished this series, now what do I do? But I'm sure I'll find plenty more to do. So that's good. I highly recommend, if you have not, getting into the Realm of the Elderlings. It is just a wonderful story, a wonderful world. So yeah, that is the book I finished this week. One book that I'm almost finished with, and by the time you see this video, I may have actually finished the book, because I have 100 pages left in Hannibal. This is book 3 in the Hannibal Lecter series by Thomas Harris. And if you have never heard of these books, you have probably seen the movies. If you like horror movies about serial killers and stuff like that, Hannibal Lecter is probably one of the most well-known fictional serial killers. So you're probably familiar with it, or at least you've heard of it. You probably heard of Silence of the Lambs, which was actually book 2 in this series, and very good. Anyway, so Hannibal is very interesting because it kind of puts Hannibal Lecter in a different light, a different part of the world, and different nuances to the character that you didn't see before. And there's some things I really like about this book, and just a slight few things that I didn't care for. But overall, it's been a fantastic read so far, and I'm anxious to see how it ends. And this is technically the final book in Hannibal Lecter's story, because the next book is a prequel. Hannibal Rising is a prequel, at least that's my understanding. So we get to hear about his childhood, probably, I'm assuming, and discover how he became Hannibal the Cannibal. So I'm really intrigued. And I was telling someone the other day, I never thought I would be this fascinated by a book about someone who was a cannibal. And oh boy, yeah, it's pretty brutal, it's pretty gruesome, but I'm here for it. And if you like that kind of stuff, you'd be here for it as well. So I do recommend the series. So there is that. Now, I am currently a little over halfway through The Butcher's Masquerade, which is book 5 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. And I'm doing this on audiobook. And if you are thinking about getting into this series and you can do audiobooks, I would challenge you to do that because it is the only way, the best way anyway, to experience Dungeon Crawler Carl, in my opinion. Some people would disagree. I know my partner has done it both on audio and the physical book, and she likes both. But I know she really, really enjoys the audio, and I do as well. That's my preferred way of, well, that's the way I started out reading the book, and so I just continued going with the audiobooks, and it's fantastic. And there are so many things happening in this book that I had no idea where this series would go. It's full of surprises, full of jaw-dropping moments. Some of the things that happen in this series, you're just like, what the heck? You're just like, I don't know, plenty of WTF moments, we'll put it that way. And it's bonkers, just bonkers. So I highly recommend it. I'm loving it. And it's really a very deep series. If you don't know much about this series, you just know the basics, it might sound to you like it's something just really easy and kind of thrown together, but it's not, I promise you. It is very deep. So I'm loving it. I am hoping to catch up in the series by the end of this year. The most recent book came out, which is The Parade of Horribles. That's book 8 in the series. It's going to be a 10-book series. So I'm really hoping to catch up and read through book 8 by the end of this year. And then I'll be ready for the next book whenever that comes out. And I'm just completely hooked at this point, and I will be finishing this series unless all of a sudden he just completely and utterly disappoints me in one of the later books, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So we shall see. All right, I also had started Bloody Rose. I mentioned that briefly in another video. I started reading Bloody Rose on my Kobo. That is the second book in the Band series by Nicholas Ames. I do know that he is working on the third and final book in the trilogy, but until that comes out, at least I've got Bloody Rose to keep me busy, and it's really entertaining so far. I'm really enjoying it, and I hope to be able to finish it by the end of June, or at the latest by the end of July. But I've had a lot of reading on my plate, and I'm going to have a lot of reading on my plate as well. So stay tuned for more on Bloody Rose. Also on my Kobo, I will be reading The Green Mile by Stephen King. This is a buddy read with Nikhil over at Shelf Esteem. We haven't started it yet. I think we're starting it next week. But I've heard really good things about The Green Mile. I've never seen the movie. I will probably watch the movie after I finish the book and see what I think. But it's one of the books that I've heard really good things about from Stephen King. And I know it was a collection of serial stories that were later compiled into the full novel. So I'll be interested to see how that reads, because I can imagine that being fairly different. But maybe it isn't different. I don't know. If you read The Green Mile, let me know if it's a different reading experience because of the way it was originally written. I would love to know that. So, I'm also going to be doing another buddy read for Lions of Al Rasan by Guy Gavriel Kay. This is going to be a group buddy read with Fina over at Fina Reads and Ian over at Ian the Reader and Kate Coy. And the four of us are going to be reading that here soon. We're going to be starting soon. Probably by the time you're watching this video, we will have started. And I'm really, really excited to read more Guy Gavriel Kay. The first two books that I read, which were Tigana and A Song for Arbonne, I really, really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to another great read with The Lions of Al Rasan. I have realistic expectations, but I also feel like Guy Gavriel Kay is just going to wow me again. So, really looking forward to that. So let's see, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 books so far. Well, I finished Fool's Quest, so technically I have 5 books open. Can I add one more? Should I add one more? And that's the question. I got invited to a group buddy read for Unsold, which is the first book in the Cradle series by Will White. I don't know if it's wise, but I was like, okay, yeah, I think I could pull that off. Am I crazy, guys? So this buddy read would be with J.R. Carroll over at the channel J.R. Carroll, and Sarah from Sarah Reads, and a couple of other people. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, do I need to add another book? And I've really been on the fence with the Cradle series. I've heard very mixed things. I know it's progression fantasy, which I guess it's different from Lit RPG, which Dungeon Crawler Carl is Lit RPG, and I'm loving that one. So maybe I would enjoy progression fantasy, but I don't know. But I guess I'm going to give it a try. So wish me luck on my continuation of reading 6 books, and tell me how crazy I am in the comments below. I mean, granted, I'm going to be finishing Hannibal here pretty soon, so that will knock it down to 5, but it's still 5 books. I might be a little crazy. Let's just be realistic and say, yeah, Chaz is crazy, and I think I'm okay with that. And so let me know in the comments below your thoughts on any of these books. Have you read any of them? Have you wanted to read some of these books? I would love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you want to watch more of my content, please check out the end screen here. There's a couple of ideas there. And until next time, make sure you're reading more books. Maybe not nearly as many as I am, but make sure you're reading more books. I'll talk with you soon.